Atatiana Jefferson, a 28-year-old woman, a pharmaceutical salesperson, really smart person, smart individual. She was taking care of her nephew who's 8 years old. They were playing video games on Saturday night. Her mom's in the hospital. So she was taking care of her mom who's in the hospital, watching the house, staying there with her nephew. A neighbor calls because the door is open. And, full disclosure, I've had my neighbors call the cops on me because my door was open, because I might have left out the house quickly and left my back door open. So my neighbor called the cops to make sure everything was okay. That's appropriate. They thought maybe somebody broke in, and I actually appreciated it because we actually have a community in my neighborhood where we're going to look out for each other. I didn't get shot and killed, thank God, and primarily because I wasn't home. So that, and maybe primarily because I don't have that kind of environment. I've actually got pulled over for speeding in my neighborhood. They saw where I live, and they were like, okay, slow down next time. In my community, it's a community, which is what I'm envisioning for everyone, to have that kind of community where people know who you are. Oh, I know you live on this street. Okay, I live down the street. We're part of the same neighborhood. And it's not even about race or complexion. It's about like a community. The neighbor called the cops. He is heartbroken, by the way. There's video of it. I got this, was it Sunday morning? Saturday night, yeah. Shortly after this happened. It came across my timeline, and I was like, what? The video. Immediately, you see the cop with the flashlight, the two of them. One's flashing the lights in the window. Apparently, Tatiana came out from her, and this is her bedroom, to see what's going on. Who's flashing lights in my bedroom or in the window? And the cop says, put your hands up, and then shoots. Not even, police, put your hands up, get down, nothing. Put your hands up, bang. She didn't have a chance. She didn't have a chance to say, hey, I live here. She didn't have a chance. It reminds me of Tamir Rice, which people didn't seem to have the kind of outrage that I expected Americans to have. And I don't know that Americans have the right level of outrage around the murder of Atatiana Jefferson besides black people. So if you're not black, because I've had people call up to tell me Mike Brown was wrong and Eric Garner shouldn't have been out there and Alton Sterling shouldn't have been selling videos, and, people should comply. And the reason why they're dead is because they don't comply. You should be given an opportunity to comply. But the larger question is, why aren't white people outraged? Why aren't white people outraged? If a person cannot be in their own home and expect to have a modicum of safety, the neighbor, do we have the audio of the neighbor who called the police and how destroyed he is right now? And it's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Sam Sinyangwe, who's been on this show, who follows and tracks police brutality and police violence, said Fort Worth, which is where this happened, Fort Worth, Texas, police killed 26 people since 2013, 30% higher rate than the national average. They killed black people at a 2 times higher rate than whites, and their use of force policy doesn't require officers to use available non-lethal alternatives to shooting people. Esley Merritt, the attorney for Botham Jean's family, who's been on this show several times, he tweeted this out. Of course, a North Texas cop just murdered another law-abiding citizen in their home. Her name was Atatiana Jefferson. They called her Tay. She was playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew when they heard a noise in the backyard. When Tay went to investigate, she was shot to death. Sandra Bland, Walker County, Texas, not too far from this. Wasn't even a regular stop. She got pulled over for failure to signal. She's dead. Texas is troublesome, but I think Texas is also going through some renaissance or some kind of move. Something's happening. James Byrd was dragged behind a truck walking home. Some people thought, I guess it was fun to let's chain this Negro up and drag him behind our truck until his torso and body falls off. That happened in Texas. Texas is troublesome, but at the same time, there's some great things happening there. So I cannot say people like, let's don't move to Texas. No, move to Texas in droves and then take your community over. Move to Texas with a plan move to Texas and make sure that you got your neighborhood on lock and that there are no police officers policing this police officer had been on the force for 1 year. But that doesn't matter to me because this wasn't a training issue. This was a humanity issue. I don't know if this were an all-white neighborhood, if he would just say, put your hands up and shoot immediately if his mama was in the house or somebody who looks like his sister or I don't think he would do that. So the 1 year is not the issue here. The training is not the issue here. Because there have been people that have been on the force for less time and they don't shoot people like that. This is a lack of humanity. I don't know what we do about it, but we're going to have a discussion. There's an audio of Atatiana with a skeleton where she's doing some sort of biology assignment. But let's play the neighbor because I think this is, if you live in a neighborhood and something's off, who do you call if you're black? Play it.
My reaction is it makes you not want to call the police department because not just Dallas or other incidents. If you don't have the what word am I looking for? If you don't feel safe with the police department, then who do you feel safe with? Do you just ignore crime or ignore something that's not right? They tell you if you see something, say something. They say if you see something abnormal, say something. Well, if you do that and you cause somebody to lose their life, it makes you not want to do that, and that's sad in today's society.
If you see something, say something. But when you're black in America, what Mr. James Smith, the neighbor who called the police, what he's saying is, where are we safe and who's there to protect us? My solution has always been since day one, we need to join the police force en masse. And then we need to be deployed in our own neighborhoods. We need to police ourselves. No one should come into our neighborhood who's not from our neighborhood. No one should be policing our neighborhoods who aren't from our neighborhood because history is showing us that they don't have the capacity to do so. More often than not, they cause harm, which is what they're sworn to not do. Like physicians, first do no harm. They're sworn to serve and protect. They're not doing that. So that means they're incapable of doing that. And not all police officers, but I'm going to say it again. If you're a good cop, why are you silent? If you're a really good cop, why don't we hear you? This was an abomination. This young lady had a future. She wasn't a thug, a criminal. She wasn't selling drugs. And damn it, if I hear that she had marijuana in her house, there's going to be a problem. Y'all can go ahead with that. 866-801-8255. I'm going to take some calls because I know people want to express themselves because it is getting beyond the pale of like what's expected here. What is the reaction? What should we feel? Numbness because this is happening way too often? Outrage and anger, but what do we do with that? Again, voting? No, don't tell me it doesn't work because it does. Let's have elected officials who are beholden to us, who have to do what we tell them to do or else. And we need to join the police force en masse, not one or two, like a group, like fraternities. Whole fraternities need to, hey, Qs, Alphas, Kappas, all of y'all, Sigmas, have your police arm. Nation of Islam, Fruit of Islam, have your police arm within your organizations who can be trained, who can come together and study for the test together. Like we need groups to go in to every neighborhood where we are in large numbers and start to like police ourselves.